All right, Elizabeth. This is the archives team and also a few people from us, but mostly archives.
Hey y'all, how's it going?
Guys, this is Elizabeth from Burson Marsteller.
So excited today.
Do y'all know each other?
Yeah, no, we know Harold's coming here for a talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna try to come down as well.
Good. I met his archivist, Deborah Shia, at
Yeah,
an SAA meeting the other day. I've been working with her.
cool. We're really excited about that too.
I know, it's going to be fun. I'm trying to get a rocking chair for him to sit in. I heard he likes to sit in his office in a rocking chair and tell stories.
That would be great. He is the ultimate storyteller.
That's what
Let
I
me
heard.
tell you.
Okay, great.
Awesome.
That's as much as I'm going to talk.
Justine does not want to be on YouTube later. All right. Actually, yeah. Let me make sure it's pointed away from y'all, because we're gonna start broadcasting.
Okay, so it's 1:30. We going?
Yeah. People start joining now. They weren't technically able to join until 1:30 on the dot.
Phones on
I
silent,
think we have 5 or 6 external participants.
Mhm.
Are they going?
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
Last time I did this, I forgot
Let me see.
I think
Yes,
Elizabeth,
I was the AV person.
I think Elizabeth is recording, right?
Okay, just make sure because last time I forgot to record.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's automatic. It looks like Christian's online, and so is Kit.
And Lauren as well. So I think we're just.
Waiting for them to actually join the
I mean, we
hangout.
can also
Mhm.
and then we'll get out of it.
Yeah,
You want to do that?
Let me request that.
since it is an introduction to really what the archives, the heritage team is all about.
Then we'll get over there. Okay. Okay.
All right, I haven't heard from Natalie, so we'll see if she's able to make it or not.
I can't be on. I have no meeting for this. Yeah, I did see that. Yes.
And Elizabeth, let me know if you hear from anyone who's having technical difficulties, since they are at least on Mighty Bell now.
Right. Yeah.
And it does say join the Google Hangout on air, so they should be able to start joining now.
Okay. That's what I just pinged Ruben for him to check too.
Yeah. Oh, hang on. Ruben just joined Mighty Bell.
I just went and walked out. If I'd known that, I had the makeup lady come on.
All right. Well, this is also our first time running this through Mighty Bell, the social network. So we're hoping this goes smoothly with everyone able to join. But Elizabeth, if not, there is an option to send out this link directly, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Mhm. Right now, it's being hosted on my own personal YouTube channel.
Yeah. Yeah. So
no
once this
worries.
is over, if you want to just download that and email it to me, and then you can just delete all evidence, and we'll put it on Cook's YouTube channel.
Okay. I'm such a YouTube celebrity. Y'all didn't know that? Okay. Ruben says it doesn't say join Hangout for him.
Interesting, because it does for me.
I have no desire.
Okay. Let's see.
Ask everybody if they've tried hitting refresh.
Yeah.
I know it's a little 101, but let me put something in the chat too.
Oh, cool. You're going to do that? Okay.
Yeah.
Just have this casual meeting. It's,
But there is no speaking phone. Oh, it is? Well, that's his phone. I hope that was not working.
And also, Kit seems to, oh no, there she is, she's back. Ruben disappeared. Someone else just RSVP'd. Oh no, that was Tracy. Never mind.
so it looks like this one is not.
So I take it Tilly wasn't able to make it then.
It's got a metal, it's got 2 pieces of a magnet. Yeah, a magnet holds that in place. Gary was looking at it. Yeah. He said, oh, there's a magnet missing from the bottom. So you can put that in. Yeah, that's how it goes. And there should be a magnet at the end there. Now, Ted, you need to run.
All right, Kit
Start
just said that
running
she's
up and down the
joining.
hall.
Mm-hmm.
It's a torch relay. We'll play music for
And you know, it's possible that people are just installing the necessary plugins. Oh, hi.
Hi. Sorry.
How's it
Technical
going?
difficulties.
That's okay. We kind of assumed.
Good. How are you?
Good. Oh, hang on. Let me actually turn it around.
Hey, Lauren, how's it going?
Hi. How are you?
Good.
Good. It's good to see you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Lauren. We haven't actually met in person, just over the phone, but this is Emily. Good to meet you.
Yeah, you as well. Yay.
Yeah. 'Cause I know last time we did this, it was just a phone conference, so we weren't able to do it face to
I
face.
know. This is way more fun. I like this.
Definitely, we need to do this more in the future. And we've got the Heritage team standing by for everyone to join. Everyone wave. Hello.
Hi, guys.
All right, let me turn it back around. So we've currently got Kit and Christian are signed on to Mighty Bell, but not on the chat yet.
Gotcha.
And then I believe we're also waiting on Johnny Bell, Ruben, somebody else. Who else we're missing? Oh, Nicole.
Nicole
Mm-hmm.
and Christian.
Yeah.
She's having some own difficulties on her own end.
Okay.
See.
And I did post a message this morning if people are having issues, because I know a lot of browsers get really picky with the plugins. It's very easy just on iOS or Android if anyone's having issues.
Okay.
Oh, no, you know what? I say that, but they would need to get a link emailed directly to them.
There's Tracy.
Oh, hi, Tracy. Hello? I think she's muted herself.
Oh, she is. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you heard from Kit? Because she texted and said she's joining now.
No, I haven't heard from her directly. I'm pinging her right now, though.
Okay.
There she is.
That's Tracy. Yeah. Oh, there's Kit.
Here we go.
Hi, Kit.
Hey, Kit.
Hi. Oh,
Yes.
yes.
Hey there, Kit. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
What we didn't tell you, Justine, is you have to wear this hat.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm afraid of. That's why I refuse.
And we've got Ruben on.
Mhm. So I think
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Jamali's got one.
No, thank you.
Yes,
I've got my Instagram photograph. Wow.
Sorry.
Oh,
You gotta get close.
Yeah, get with the guitar on.
Oh my gosh.
I'll take it to my employee, Kyle Petty. I think Kyle Petty would like
And for anyone who's concerned, we can edit this video before we post it anywhere.
yes.
it. Okay. Yeah, exactly.
All right, I'm thinking we should maybe give it, what time is it now? 1:38. Maybe give it until 1:45 and then just get started. If anybody's a late joiner, they can catch up via the YouTube later.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Okay. Hey, Ruben.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well. People are starting to join. We've got the whole
Great.
Heritage team here.
Hey, everybody.
But they both seem the same. Yeah, I see.
You just need to tweak it a little bit.
And for those of you who are still waiting around, we're pretty excited about today. Y'all are going to be able to go on a video tour of the archives. We're going to take you around through some of the stacks, which go all the way back that direction. This is just the entry room.
Jan doesn't want to be on TV. That's what I'm saying. They can't see my Coke. I'm like, Coke mom.
Yeah. Did you get that in the store?
No, I got it from Ambassador.
Really?
They give it out on Mother's Day.
This took a while.
Ah, I saw some of the interns walking around with some of those shirts when they did their presentations.
Yeah, but
It was a lot. It wasn't the mom,
Yeah,
but it was
I hope
that.
not.
No. It was like a set like that with the same type
Yeah, they
treatment
had
and the
one
Coke
full
bottle.
of that probably.
Yeah, and it was like I sell Coke
Yes,
or I
yes,
love
yes,
Coke.
yes,
and
yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
all the interns got those.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not all of them, just that one group.
Oh, excuse me.
Well, the boxes sat outside the office for a while.
Right,
I
and
went
people
over and I
just
said,
grab
"What's
them.
in there?" She's like, "Just take some." I'm like,
I'll have
"Oh,
to
okay."
ask
And then
her
I
if she
started
has any
spreading the
more.
word on the floor.
Yeah, I think Stephanie was in like the closet.
Oh yeah,
Just
go to
handing
Elizabeth.
stuff
She'll
out.
fix that.
To Elizabeth.
He's-
I don't know her.
He's Angela's
All right, let's
assistant,
just give
long
it a
dark
couple more
hair.
minutes, and then we'll just go ahead and get started.
What size do you need? I'll
Since
give you-
before we weren't going to be able to catch people up after the
This
fact,
is a medium.
but now people will be able to watch the YouTube video.
Yeah,
I can be wherever.
A large.
I think it looks like Johnny Bell is dialing now.
Okay.
Online. Or no,
Wow.
Christian's online, so she should be in
Trying to
shortly.
figure out why this won't focus. There we go.
Yeah.
I might be here next week.
Okay.
You don't have to.
Thank you.
Sure.
I'm nervous because I'll do that to the list. Not everyone on the internet.
Yeah.
You're nervous what? I'm nervous to do something for you guys.
Well, Ted's not allowed to correct anybody. Whatever you say goes.
He's on the internet forever.
You can't be in the back going, no.
If I could build on that remark.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll do it too. So, Ginny, you can go and go, it's all for sale. Come on in. We're having a sale tomorrow.
Exactly.
And he can't say anything. I'm just giving it away. Yeah. Good, like this. Good catch. Go into a bottle.
Did you say it was Johnny Bell or Christian who was trying to join now?
Christian.
Okay,
She's online. We also sent the link directly to her.
awesome.
And
And Natalie
Johnny
may
Bell.
or may not be able to join, so
Okay.
I'm not going to worry too much about it.
Okay.
I know she's got a busy day.
I've had this thing for years. I have no idea what it is. Yes. You can catalog them. Well, she kept them away. Yeah. Hopefully this one is on.
Is it?
It's
This is going to be a great test run too, because we are hoping to do this more frequently as the year goes on. So it'll be good.
Yeah, everybody moved.
All right, well, maybe we should go ahead and get started since we're just going to start out with introductions from everybody. And then hopefully the few people who are still trying to join will be on by the time that we do the tour. So I'm actually just going to spin this around and hope that I can get everyone. Wait, that's the wrong direction. I'm working on it. All right, so everybody, this is the Heritage team here at Coke, and I'm going to let everybody walk around and introduce themselves, and then we'll let opener members who are online, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourselves after that. So let me just have everyone pass the iPad around for a second. And if
Wow,
you could
close-ups.
really-
I like the close-ups, and you got to hold it up so that. Hey, my name is Ted Ryan. I'm director of the Heritage Communications Department.
Hi everyone, I'm Caitlin Smith and I've been the archives intern this summer. Hi, I'm Jenny Van Winkle. I was the archives intern last summer and now I'm a contractor in the archives department.
Change
Sorry.
Hi everybody, my name is Stephanie Nestor and I'm a project archivist.
Hello, I am Jamal Booker and I'm the manager of the archives.
Last and not least, I am Justine Fletcher, and I'm the processing archivist.
All right, and for those of y'all who haven't met me in person, you all right? I'm Emily Bugarati. I'm on Team Journey here at Coke, so I'm the one who actually gets all your stories online. I know some of us, we met a couple months ago on the telecall that we had before, but it's great to meet you all in person. So if each of y'all wants to take a turn and introduce yourselves, let's just, for me, looks like Kit's on the left. We wanted to start with you, Kit.
Yeah, hi. I'm Kit Graham. I'm based in Chicago, and I'm a food blogger. I write a site called The Kitchen, spelled with 2 T's, to play in my name. And I've been contributing to the opener for a few months now.
Looks like next is Lauren.
Hi, I'm Lauren. I actually am in Denver, Colorado, and I write a food and lifestyle blog called Climbing Greer Mountain, and I've been with Journey just about the same amount of time as Kit has.
Yeah, they're 2 of our actually early joiners, some of our groundbreaking members of the opener. Elizabeth, Ruben, and Tracy, I don't think that any of y'all have actually met the Heritage team, so if you want to just introduce yourselves.
Yeah, go for it. Ruben, you want to?
Yeah, so I'm Ruben. I'm based in Los Angeles, and I'm part of the Burson Coke team.
And then I know Tracy's having some technical difficulties and can't come off mute, but she's the next person in line there, also on the Burson team, working on Coca-Cola and with the bloggers and on Opener, and then me, Elizabeth Fine, as well, a part of the Burson team as well. Tracy and I are both based in DC, and Ruben is kind of our West Coast guy. So we kind of cover both coasts with all times of day.
Awesome. And then once those people who are having technical difficulties join, we'll let them introduce themselves closer to the end of the meeting. So I'm actually going to take it over to Ted for a second. If you want to give us a quick rundown of what exactly it is that the Heritage Communications team does and what the archives is and how maybe it differs from the world of Coke.
Okay. I'll actually flip-flop the order and tell you sort of about the archives first. We were first conceived in 1939. There were plans to make a museum after our 50th anniversary in 1936. Those were shelved, and then the plans for the archives were later shelved due to World War II occurring. However, they had gathered together a great deal of material for a lawsuit showing continuous use of the trademark, so they had the foundation of the archives. After World War II, plans were made, and Wilbur Kurtz was the first archivist, a former advertising guy, and he continued to build on the collection and basically answer historical questions. The same kind they come in today, they've been coming in forever. Phil Mooney was the next archivist in 1977. He was the first professional archivist. I came in 1997. So we've continued to grow and build the archives. What we do is we serve the Coca-Cola Company. We're close to the public. We work with marketers, PR, legal, brand folks, and within that, we work with agencies and all the other people that the Coke folks will bring in. We're sitting in our opening room of the archives. You can pan around a little bit while I talk.
Mm-hmm.
We're actually sitting on a couple of American Idol couches from different seasons. If you were working with an agency working on a project, maybe Jamal, you can do the Sprite one. I'll kick it over to you in a second. You're working with an agency, you contact the archives. We're going to set up displays. We're going to work with you and give you background. But let me toss it to Jamal, who can give a concrete example.
Yeah, so we had a few new people who were working on Sprite, and they wanted to come in and understand a lot about the Sprite brand. So Stephanie, who's here, and Caitlin, who's here, also pulled together sort of a history of Sprite. And the agency came in, and we sort of sat them down, showed all the historical packaging, showed them all the historical TV commercials, just so they could get an understanding of the history of the brand, and that history can kind of inform what they're going to work on next. So we get to meet a lot of fun people, see a lot of fun projects, and actually incorporate history into those.
Awesome. Before we actually started on a tour, does anyone have any specific questions that they wanted to ask the team? Because we can always come back at the end, too, if you have questions along the way.
You asked about the World of Coke. The World of Coke is our public-facing attraction that attracts 1.5 million visitors a year, and it's a great museum. There's videos, a 4D ride, and we help supply the information both for the pop culture gallery and the artifacts for the heritage exhibit, but it's a totally separate entity run as an attraction. In that case, we serve as advisors and treat portions of it like our museum, but the archives, this is where all the knowledge is. This is where people give tours, and we use it ourselves to learn more about the company and to answer questions and to help different departments either ideate or discover newness and the oldness that we have in the archive.
Awesome. And actually, Johnny Bell, are you on? I saw that you just joined. I thought I'd give you a chance to introduce yourself.
I think she
looks like she doesn't have video.
Yeah, and I think it looks like her microphone is muted, so she might be having a microphone problem as well. But she looks like she's on.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll come back and catch our stragglers at the end. Do you think we could go ahead and start just a quick tour of the archives?
Yep. Jamal, you want to start your road?
Yeah. So we will go down this way. You'll see in a minute that the archives actually goes on for a while. So we got a lot of storage here, but we also have off-site storage where we have bigger vending machines. So we've got a few dozen vending machines as well. And when I hit this button, it'll actually open up the first aisle, and you can see how much history we have. It's just aisle after aisle after aisle of Coke history. And this is sort of fun. As Ted mentioned, the world of Coke is sort of public facing, but this is something that not many people get to see, so we're happy to be able to bring them in. So you'll see a lot of these pieces here are items that we just got in on auction, so we're always looking for Coke items that we can actually bring in and have on exhibit. So as you walk down, just watch your step as you come up. Coke artwork. So Coke playing that someone's made out of cans. We like to celebrate sort of the history of people celebrate our brands, and we like to capture that and put it in the archives as well. And these drawers behind me actually have lots of interesting materials. For example, this is a print ad from the very early days of Coca-Cola. And as you can see, there's in the bottom of this print ad, this little rectangle here is actually a coupon. So it says, this card entitles you to 1 glass of Coca-Cola at the fountain. So you could actually detach that coupon and take it down to the soda fountain and try Coca-Cola. Coke was the first cola on the market, so to get people used to the taste, we would actually give them these coupons. Everything in the archives, Ted talked a little bit about what we do. We manage these historical materials as well. So these plastic sleeves we have here are not the plastic sleeves you get at an office supply store. These are all acid-free. So over time, these won't hurt the materials at all. If you were actually physically here, you would feel that it's a little cooler, so that's better for the artifacts as well. The other fun part is we are actually the international archive for the company. So this piece here is actually from South Africa. So this is a calendar from 1961, South Africa, and we've got pieces from all around the globe. There's also Coca-Cola collectors clubs all around the world. So there's collectors in South Africa, there's collectors in Japan, in Brazil, Australia, Argentina. So people collect Coca-Cola memorabilia like this all around the world. So any questions on this stuff before I turn it over to the next person to go to the next aisle?
I have a question.
Sure.
Elizabeth does. Do you work with these collectors to kind of acquire different things as you maybe come across them, or that may pop up that you didn't know existed that might be interesting?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got a great relationship with the Coke Collectors Club. They're some of the best brand advocates for us, so we really appreciate them. And we always are working with them to identify different pieces that we can put on display at the World of Coke. So we do purchase with them. We leverage their knowledge as well and ask them about certain pieces that they may know exist that we may not have in our collection. So we do have a good relationship. All right. So with that, I will turn it over to Jenny Van Winkle, who will be doing our next row.
Hello.
Wait for Emily to get out of that aisle. Okay, so this next aisle has a lot of our Coca-Cola toys and trays and syrup urns. We can just walk right in. On the left side here, just all different sorts of games, trucks. This guy is always a crowd favorite. This is the Buddy Lee doll, and he is wearing an exact replica of a Coke delivery man's uniform. So people always really like this doll. And down here you can see these are lots of different Coke delivery truck toys with little miniature Coke bottles. Coke radios. This one's one of my favorites. Alright, so that's really like the fun stuff. Some of the more historical, serious stuff, if you look up on the top row here, these are syrup urns, and these were used in the very early days of Coca-Cola when Coca-Cola was still served as a fountain drink at soda fountains. And so these urns were given away as a premium to retail outlets if they bought 50 or 100 gallons of the syrup. And so you can see the top part of the urn, they have a brownish hue. Now they all started out the white color, but as the syrup sat in that ceramic, it would start to seep into the porcelain. So if you see the really dark brown ones, those were ones that were really used a lot and for a long period of time. These are all originals here. They're pretty valuable, worth $10,000 to $15,000 now. You can also get replicas, but they're still also worth a couple $1,000s. All along this side, you'll see Coca-Cola trays. Trays have been used since the very early days of Coca-Cola. It was one of Asa Candler's ideas for getting the Coca-Cola name out there. So down here at the very beginning, we have some of the really early trays. This here is a woman named Hilda Clark. She was one of the first celebrities featured in Coca-Cola advertising. Coca-Cola, since the very beginning, has used celebrities in advertising. So Hilda Clark, and also a woman named Lillian Nordica. They were opera singers back in the late 1800s, early 1900s. A few more fun things to point out on this aisle. Another way of getting the Coke name out there was licensing the name and putting it on whatever we could, and so this was Coca-Cola gum. It's not actually Coca-Cola flavored, but we licensed the name to be put on gum. An interesting fact that a lot of people don't know is that the Coca-Cola company invented the six-pack. So in 1923 is when Robert Woodruff took over the Coca-Cola company from Candler, and by this time, home refrigeration was pretty common. It was the early 1920s, and people were able to take Cokes home to their home. And so they designed this box so you could put your 6 glass bottles, your returnable bottles, inside the box, and then it would have 2 handles, and you would carry it home. And 6 was decided to be the number of bottles that a woman could carry at the time, because she was the one who was usually doing the shopping. And then you could go and return this box to the store and get 6 more bottles. And then they quickly realized that they could upsell these during the holidays, so they'd put different holiday wrappers on them. So it's the same box underneath, but they would market them for the different seasons. And this is the famous Coca-Cola Santa Claus. You'll hear more about him later in the art aisle, but Haddon Sundblom is the artist who created this Coca-Cola Santa Claus. That's about it for this aisle. I think Ted is going to talk next about the contour bottle.
We're coming on back down.
We have to wait a second before we can move the shelves over across Jenny. We don't want to do that. There it goes. And Jenny and Jamal forgot the rule that you had to wear this hat while you gave your tour. So I'm actually not going to wear it the whole time, but this is a example of some of the newer stuff that we get in. This is a FIFA hat that was done for the South African games a couple of years ago when they did this campaign asking people to show their love for FIFA and for football, and this is one of the things that came in. Thanks. Okay, I'm going to tell the history of the Coca-Cola bottle in about a minute and a half, and next year it's going to celebrate its 100th anniversary, so you'll be seeing more of the Coke bottle next year than you can imagine. This is the original type of bottle. This is called a Hutchison bottle. They were in use from about 1890 to about 1900. It actually has a stopper. Let me get one that has a stopper that you can see at the top. So the drink would be filled one at a time. It took about a minute to fill each bottle. This stopper would be pushed to the top as the carbonation was put in the bottle. And to open it, you would take that stopper and you would push it down in there. This one's rattling around down at the bottom. Not the most sanitary way to drink, but it's also where you got the word soda pop. It was that popping noise as you pushed it down into the bottle. Don't break that. The next kind of bottle, somebody's been playing with my bottle though, it's not in order, is the crown cork seal. This is the bottle that you know today that you get your beer in, you get your Coke in, it has the crown that goes on, you open it up, you get a the rule that Coke had is it had to have the embossing. I don't know how visible that's going to be, but you can see the Coca-Cola embossing there. And the bottles were either done in brown or, I can find one of my clear ones, or in clear. Brown was usually in a beer drinking part of the country. Clear was usually in a non-beer drinking part of the country. If you're a Coke bottler, you buy your bottle from the same people the beer companies do. So Milwaukee, you're going to get brown. Georgia, which was dry at the time, you get clear. One of the issues with the bottle was that people could imitate the logo. So I'll pull out two of the imitator bottles. You can see on there, I'm not sure, is it visible? Mm-hmm. Where you can see the Coke done in the cursive C and the Coca-Nola. Between 1890 and 1920, the company filed over 1,200 lawsuits to keep competitive products from using our logo. We've fought constantly to keep the logo Coca-Cola pure, so that if you saw Coca-Cola, you would know what you were getting. We also tried to put labels on it. Here's one with a label. But the problem with the label is that usually you were getting your drink out of an ice-cold bucket of water, and if you're doing that, the label would oftentimes float off. They started with the label in 1906. So, in 1915, the company issued a creative brief that went out to 8 different glass companies. It is a very simple brief that said, design a bottle that you'd recognize lying broken on the ground or by feeling the dark. What a simple concept. The 8 different companies vied for that bottle. This particular sketch right here, and this is the real sketch from 1915, was done by the Root Glass Company. This one was done by Earl Dean. The bottle was later patented in November by the shop foreman, Alexander Samuelson, and the Root Glass Company patented this particular shape. So 100 years ago, next year, this shape was patented. The company picked it among the 8 different designs that were put forward. And in 1916, the Coca-Cola bottle that you know today, this beautiful shape, was in the market. What's interesting, and you can't feel it, but it's actually pretty heavy. It's 14.5 ounces of glass and then 6.5 ounces of fluid. So each one of these bottles was about a pound. But it's now known as the most recognized consumer package in the world. It's the best known shape in the world. At one point, we had a bottle on its side in silhouette, and it said "Quick, name a soft drink," and it has like 99% recognition around the world. Next year, you're going to see a lot of it because we're going to be celebrating the anniversary. And with that, I'm going to toss it over to Stephanie, and she is going to do the packaging run. You get to do 2 then.
So down here you'll see some of the packaging we have in our collection. Most we have on these rows are domestic. We do some international mix. We have our international row elsewhere. But I do want to point out a few different things. This is actually the first designed can for consumption for the bottle. This never actually went out to market. This was a prototype from the late 30s, but of course with World War II and needing to use supplies for the war effort, this was quickly shelved. So the first can that went out to consumers is this one right here in the 1960s. And a lot of people had difficulties realizing that this was ready-to-drink Coca-Cola. It's the same thing as you get in the bottle. It's not syrup that you need to add the carbonated water to, as Jenny was saying earlier. So what the company did was they actually placed the bottle outline within the diamond itself to really help link the idea. And as Ted just told you the story of the contour bottle, this shape has become so integrated with our company and our beverage, our namesake beverage. And so this is just one way you can see how it is so intrinsically linked. So we have quite an assortment of different brands, as you can see, located here on this. We have vitamin water, Fanta, Coca-Cola, Cherry Coke, Diet Coke, Coca-Cola Light, as it's known in some markets. If you want to come on down and grab one more shake. So this is one of our space cans. This was sent up in 1991 to the Soviet Union International Space Station. As you can see, we have the contour script written out in English, and then also in written out in Russian as well. So this is one of the first soft drinks that was consumed in outer space. We also had a fountain dispenser that was also sent on a later mission to outer space as well. So, all right.
All right, very cool.
Do y'all keep any archives or keep? I think you just mentioned like Fanta and vitamin water briefly. Do you kind of keep other Coke brands that don't necessarily aren't necessarily Coca-Cola, but you know, kind of more of the Coke brands?
Mm-hmm. So we do keep record of the different brands, and as Jamal mentioned in the front room, you know, we have a Sprite brand team wanted to come down, so I was able to pull from our material that we have of the Sprite brand itself. We do have a lot of Coca-Cola here, but we also preserve the history of our other brands, domestic and international. Coca-Cola has over 500 different products within our global portfolio, to capture as much of it as we can. Mm-hmm.
Good music?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So this next room is where we have our paper and records collections. We have our photography collections, our different magazines, internal magazines. So this room is how we know what we know. This is how we know everything about Coca-Cola Company. It's really held in this room. So I'm going to play something for y'all. In the 1960s, Coca-Cola Things Go Better with Coke. I want you to record a jingle in your own genre. And you could even change the lyrics to an existing song, just include Things Go Better with Coke. And this was long before things went viral, but it was so popular it actually went vinyl. People would call in the radio stations and they would request for these commercials, these jingles we played, just as they would call and request for songs. So the company produced these records, and they were given out by the Coca-Cola Company and the Coca-Cola Bottling Company. So right now we're going to hear one of the jingles from Ray Charles.
Ray Charles is a coming home. When I come home to you in the evening after working hard all day, you make everything so cozy for me in a sweet and gentle way. First you hug and kiss me, and then you turn on the stereo. And then there is a Coke for me, and that's why I know you know that things go better with the Coca-Cola. Yeah, things go better with the Coke. Life is much more fun when you refresh. And Coke refreshes you best. Oh, yes, it does. Coke has a taste you'll never get tired of. Coke after Coke after Coke. The real live one puts
So as you can see, these sound a lot more like songs than commercials. So by the end of the promotion, we had over 200 artists participate. We're going to kick it on down now.
Actually, that's a record player for you young people.
Caitlin's going to take the next step.
So back this way, we have the Coca-Cola collection of art. We have a ton of different kinds of famous art. I'm going to talk to you about one
artist in particular, you've probably heard of Norman Rockwell. Well, in 1931, the company commissioned Norman Rockwell to paint some photos for the annual calendar. And he did 6 paintings, and out of those 6, this one was selected for 1931's calendar, and this is actually the most popular calendar that the company has ever produced. As a side note, we also have another one that he did for the year that was rejected, and he actually used it later for his magazine, but as you'll see, the Coke is coming out of water, and the company rejected it because they did not want to show Coca-Cola coming out of any type of water that wasn't sanitary. So he later used this photo painting for the cover of his magazine, and he changed the image of Coke to fish. So there you have it. We have several Rockwell pieces. He was a big artist for the company. And now I'm going to give it to Ted, who's going to give you another famous art story.
Welcome to the Art Row. The company, every single ad that the company did between the early 1900s and 1960s was based on a piece of art. We didn't buy art, we bought the art, commissioned artists to do the tales. So something like this would be used on a print ad, it would be used on a poster, it would be used on a blotter, a bunch of different varieties. And we hired these great artists, most of them in Chicago. The Chicago School of Art produced Haddon Sundblom, Gil Elvgren. Norman Rockwell wasn't out of Chicago, but all these illustrators who were so well known. Sundblom, who did this one, was also famous. He did the Coca-Cola Santa Claus, I'm going to show you in a second. The Phillips Tiger. He did a number of corporate identity images that you would recognize today. And it's interesting because these guys weren't known as being artists. At the time, they were just called illustrators. But in reality, they were amazing artists. The Coca-Cola Santa Claus story. Coke used Santa Claus in our advertising prior to 1931 when Sundblom did the first one. But the Santa Claus story is actually an interesting cultural one as well. Different regions of the world had different visions of Santa Claus. In some, he was tall, and others, he was short. Thomas Nast painted him as this brutish little dwarf-like creature. There were all these different ideas of Santa Claus out there. Coca-Cola asked Sundblom to paint the real Santa Claus, not a mall Santa, but what would Santa Claus look like if he was getting to enjoy Coca-Cola? So beginning in 1931, Sundblom did his first painting, and he painted it every year from 1931 until 1964. And Coca-Cola being Coke, it became so ubiquitous that whenever people now think of Coca-Cola, the Thomas Nast image is gone. The tall guy wearing green and brown robes is gone. You think of the big red and white jolly Santa Claus. Let me see if I've got another one. Even as the times change, he modernized them a little bit, but it's Santa Claus, and he's getting to enjoy a nice cold Coca-Cola. I'll show one other piece. By the way, if you ever build a museum, don't install this kind of shelving for your artwork. It's actually the wrong kind of shelving. Usually you would have it on racks, and it would move differently. For any of you agency people, you can almost see the brief. Can you get it with the Plex? Mm-hmm. Okay. So you've got your initial concept. We're going to leave a note for Santa with a Coke on it. He flushes it out a little bit more, does a little detail down there. Now you can see the kids are going to be spying on the note to Santa Claus. And on this one, he's blocked it out because for one piece of art, he wants to actually get 4 uses. You'll see a crop mark. The biggest crop is for an out-of-home billboard. There's a smaller crop inside it for an in-store poster. You can see a square calendar top crop, and then a vertical print ad crop, so that he can get all of the different elements out of one single painting, because in the days before Photoshop, you didn't want to have to do it 5 different times to get 5 different elements out of it. So these guys don't get as much credit as they should. They were just called illustrators, but they were really genius artists. With that, I would usually close the tour by showing you our Andy Warhol pieces, except they're on display right now, so I can't actually pull them out and show them to you. So what we're going to do is go back up to the front room, and we've done nothing but talk to you for a bit. We're going to reassemble, and if you guys have any questions, we'll be happy to answer them. Awesome. So follow me this way. While we're walking, we have a couple of generalized stats that we always throw out. People ask us how many things do we have down here. The answer is we have millions. But the way that I usually compare it is by saying if you took every shelf, every one of these shelves, and laid it out end to end, it would stretch for 2.5 miles. So it'd go from here to the Georgia Dome and back. And if you took every one of the flat files, like Jamal was pulling out in the first room, and laid it out end to end, you would have the equivalent of 2 football fields worth of flat files. So there's quite a bit of storage here. We also have our famous mannequin. Apparently Jamal decided to decorate him with a hat. You gotta stop for a second, show that. Doesn't this guy look like De Niro?
If you squint?
Oh no, he looks like De Niro.
I can see it.
Don't have to vote. I think he looks just like him. You ready? Yeah, that's Warhol's signature.
This is the this was just sitting on the floor.
For later. This particular one is an imprint from a poster for a 1974 show in Japan. So when he did his first show in Japan, he had 50 of these printed on a special printing process and then signed them.
Very cool.
It will be part of the contour bottle displays that we're doing for next year. I guess I shouldn't leave it on the floor.
All right, let me turn this back around and turn the camera around. All right, does anybody have any questions that they wanted to ask the team or anything they wanted to learn more about after the tour? I know we lost a couple people over the course of things.
I do have not a question, but as you guys sort of know the social media world, I'm really interested in what kind of historical blogs that you guys see out there that might be cool enough to bring into the Opener Network. Because we do a lot in social media, but it'd be nice to connect with some folks that are doing some things that might have an interesting angle on what we do to include them as well.
Anybody? Elizabeth, have you come across anything like that?
Not specifically, but that's a great idea and something we could kind of all collectively think if there's any people or individuals or friends that we know or that we follow that have a strong interest in that, and that's a great idea. We could take a look at that and try to incorporate. That'd be a great way to kind of feature some specific pieces that y'all have down in archives, and kind of highlight things as anniversaries and events come up. That's a great idea.
I have an idea too. My friend's parents actually have a really great Coca-Cola collection. They have a whole Coca-Cola themed bar area in their house. So if you guys are interested in some sort of post where it was sharing somebody's collection and talking to them about how they created it and what inspired it, that might be really interesting too.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I know that Johnny Bell had left, but she did post a question in the chat. So
okay, great.
I can go ahead and read that off and see if anyone has a good answer to this. When Coca-Cola first started in 1892, how many employees were there?
Ooh. That's a good question.
I don't have the
Anyone
exact number. It was small.
Yeah.
We have a picture from 1898 that shows the entire Atlanta sales force. And I think there's maybe 20 people on the steps. But Coca-Cola, from the very beginning, was a franchise or a subdivided labor system. We sold basically syrup and provided advertising. And we had commissioned salesmen called jobbers that went around from location to location trying to sell in. So they weren't officially employees of the company, but they got a cut of all the sales. And then when we did our bottling system, it was the same thing. It was basically a giant franchise system. So in the early years, less than 20 employees. By 1900, though, we're sold in every state of the U.S., and it's a pretty large commercial enterprise.
And I saw that Tilly joined at some point and then left again. Do you know if she had any questions?
I don't see any in the chat, the group chat box. But I had kind of a question going back to the kind of the artwork and lending that out, because knowing that the Warhol paintings are out on loan right now. How often do y'all do that? You know, is there a process by which you select some of the best pieces to lend, or is it as on a request basis or anything like that?
Yeah, we have items out on exhibits all the time, and really this is an archive which is different than the archives I've worked at in the past. This is not a place where we bring things in just so they can sit on the shelf, so we want them out in front of people as much as possible. So requests come both ways, so sometimes people ask us for materials if they want to do a show, but we're also looking at different ways we can kind of share the brand with people as well. So we're always looking for different opportunities to kind of highlight Coke's history in different museums. So, you know, our pieces have been to, you know, the Louvre. They go all around the world. And next year, obviously, around the Contour Bottle, we'll have a lot of exhibits too.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Oh, did someone else have a question?
Oh, no, that was me. I just said awesome.
Cool. Another question. What is the day-to-day job of an archivist like?
The best thing about being an archivist here at Coke is that no 2 days are alike. I can't think of a single day where I actually got done what I planned to do as I was driving in the office that day. We're a worldwide company, and you get requests from around the world, and every single day it's a little bit different. You know, help us with the packaging history, a country history. Anyway, last week you were telling what you're doing at the East Lake Golf Club.
Oh, yes. We were talking about the history of Coca-Cola in golf at the East Lake Golf Club, because there was a Coca-Cola-sponsored golf tournament there last weekend. So I was there with Ted with a bunch of old Coke and golf-related artifacts and print ads.
Talking to the media, standing on a driving range as people are hitting off, you know, getting ready to go tee off at this tournament. We're standing there, but it was an influencer media event.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it did exactly what it was supposed to do. It got us mentioned in the golf media exactly the way. But I looked at Jenny and said, who would have thought 2 weeks ago you'd be standing on a driving range talking to the golf reporters?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Any examples you want to share, Jamal?
Yeah, I mean, it's we get requests all the time. So just typical, you get a request from, you know, Coca-Cola Japan, and they want to know when Sprite came to Japan, and can you share some ads from Sprite's history in Japan with us? They really come in across the board, but in most cases it's from internal people at the Coca-Cola company. So as much as we would like to do more sort of external, our jobs sort of focus on how we can help, you know, people within the company and our stakeholders, and kind of, you know, enhance the brand with our stakeholders. We aim to do a lot in social media as well, so the history tab on Journey, trying to feed content there a lot, and on our Facebook page as well. I just gave a tour earlier this morning. If anybody remembers Body by Jake, Jake and his family came in for a tour, so that was a day in the life. Really nice guy.
That's cool. Does anyone else have any other questions? I have another one, but it's a question for everyone in the room, so I don't know if that's kind of a long. It probably has a long answer, so I didn't know if anyone else had any before I asked mine.
Jen, did you have any questions?
No.
Okay, well, do each of you have a favorite piece that somewhere in the vault that's your favorite, kind of all-time favorite Coke archived piece?
That's awesome. Let's just go down the line and find out.
I'd like to go grab it or something. I mean, one of my favorites, going back to when I first interned with the company 3 years ago, is this poster we have from 1912, done by a famous artist at the time, Hamilton King. It's just, I don't know, I think it's absolutely beautiful, and just one of my favorite things we have in archives.
So I'm a big Kentucky basketball fan. So mine would probably be every year Kentucky won the championship in the 90s. They did a contour bottle with the Kentucky logo on it. So mine would definitely be the Kentucky Coca-Cola bottles.
Awesome.
Mine is original artwork that we have that NC Wyeth did for the company. It's just beautiful blue and green colors and a contour bottle surrounded by ice. Very beautiful.
Mine would actually be on a similar note to Jenny's, the Sunbloom Santa Claus. I just think that the story is just mind-blowing and wonderful, and I love the artwork.
Mine is that contour bottle sketch I held up, and it's mainly, A, it's a unique item. It's the sketch that created the bottle, but B, the way we got it. It was a purchase at an auction, and we were buying anonymously, and it was a phone bid. So it was a Julian auction house in Los Angeles, and we had a set time that I was supposed to call, which was at 3 o'clock. I was at my son's soccer game at 2, and they called and said, the pace is going early, you have to call now. So I was literally getting in a car from a soccer game with my kids in the back, bidding on that piece, which I was fortunate enough to be able to get. So my son looked and he said, Dad, was that hundreds of dollars? And I said, no. A little bit more than that. Every item, every Coke item has a story. And if you put any of us down here and pointed at a row and said, go find something and tell a story, we could do it. You know, or at the 6-pack with the different packages, and that's the beauty, and it's just the items tell the stories, and then everybody has a Coke story. So whenever people find out I work for Coke, oh, you work for Coke, XYZ, and they launch into a Coke story. So it's the best job in the world. Everybody else?
All right. Well, does anyone last call for questions?
We have another one in the chat. If we want to take,
yeah, that'd be great.
Want to take that. I know we are coming across the 2:30 mark. But how do you decide if a piece is worth saving or purchasing or bidding on? I'm sure you come across things that aren't worth cataloging. So how do you make that decision?
That's an excellent question. In the archival world, it's called appraisal, and we are all trained on how to appraise. With the purchasing items for the collection, we have a we don't buy things just to buy them. We buy it if it fills a gap in the collection or if it tells a story, if it will work for an exhibition. Internally, the way we get material is different, and we get it from the different groups, the advertising agencies. Jamal, do you want to tell them about the web capture? I mean, think about digital capture in the 22nd century. How are we going to capture this web chat? You know, the challenges are growing, but we're trying to meet it.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about, this bottle right here, part of our job is to save this so that in 40 or 50 years we'll still have access to this bottle. But how do you do that with a website or a digital activation? So with Happiness Flag, if any of you guys saw that as part of the FIFA campaign, we had a whole website that had all these selfies that made the big flag. So we're actually capturing that whole website and the whole web experience so that in 20 or 30 years from now, someone could actually go on to the archive and see exactly how that website works today. So that's part of what we're doing, is trying to capture kind of the digital world as we do, with the physical world. So that's a big piece of what we do also.
Your question was good, though, because that is the single most difficult thing we face, either in electronic form or deciding what to keep in paper form, or, we get the papers of the CEO, but there's so much produced. There's no way we could collect every Coke item out there. So you just, American Idol stuff is, we like those. And my other prop is here, the Olympic torches. This is the Sochi torch. We get those because we use them in exhibits, and it tells a story. So Coke is a storytelling brand, and we look at the story of every object first. And then preserving the history. We have to preserve our corporate history. Anything else?
Anyone? All right, thank you all so much for turning out. I think it's been a really great time. So thank you to Burson, thank you to our bloggers, and thanks very much to the Heritage team.
Yes, thank y'all.
Hope you all had a really great time, and I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
All right, bye everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye,
Hey
Ruben.
there. Bye. Take care.
Bye.